Well, there's a huge furore around education at the moment. Government schools are closed until the 15th of February. Now, various organisations are claiming that some independent or private schools which have reopened have broken the law. In fact, even the Gauteng Education MEC, Panyaza Lesufi, has claimed that schools must be closed. But as I understood the Basic Education Department official speaking on Friday, I don't think government has the power to order independent schools to close at the moment. I'm fairly certain Lebogang Montjani, the Executive Director of the Independent Schools Association of Southern Africa, will have a view on this. I imagine he has a lawyer on speed dial at the moment. Lebogang, good afternoon to you. What does the law say in your view? Can national government, as things stand, regulations are at advanced level 3, can national government order independent schools to close?
Presently, the regulations do not preclude independent schools from opening. However, we strongly believe that the right thing to do for schools is to actually close until the regulations are promulgated, which we expect will happen later this
year. Okay, I mean, so legally, some of the people, and I mean, COSAS, other organisations have been saying independent schools will close, but under the law, they don't necessarily have a case.
Not at the moment, correct. I think that until the regulations are promulgated, as we've said to other people as well, when the president even did the level 3 lockdown state in the media, he then quickly promulgated the regulations that actually supported this state.
Okay, I mean, I suppose the obvious question is why would a school want to have face-to-face teaching during a pandemic? And I would imagine this goes to the heart of some of the divisions in our society. 53% of parents think that schools should remain closed. That means 47% of parents think schools should remain open.
What is happening is that there's no question that online learning is not optimal, Stephen. So many people do want their children to be at school. And also, because of the lockdown regulations, actually, some of our members are saying, regrettably, because parents have got to go to work, they are now pooling their children together in different homes. And so you've sometimes got up to 15 students at home trying to actually be looked after by one person. And as a result, actually, some of the unforeseen realities is that some people are actually basically leaving children alone during the day because they've got no other choice because they've got to go to work. So I can understand why people are saying that 47%. However, when we look at the government strategy of trying to flatten this curve, this strategy is working. And I'm really, pleased that we must all try and support it. A few days ago, the numbers were well above 10,000. Now we're below 10,000. So let's support government in their effort to actually flatten this curve, even those 47% of parents who want schools to be open.
I mean, in a way, it gets people really upset, and I completely understand why. I'm a parent myself. I mean, you have COSAS threatening to close down schools. There are some parents who are at your schools who by definition are two things: paying customers and people who've decided not to send their children to government schools. Now you've got government saying, out of social solidarity, you must shut your schools, and so that your children must be in the same situation as children at government schools. And in the middle, we have your head teachers. I wouldn't want to be one of your head teachers at the moment. It's quite an uncomfortable position to be in.
Stephen, my heads are really having a hard time of it because they also have to make sure that their schools are sustainable. But the reality is that what the privilege of being in an ISASA school is that we can do online learning. So I really encourage all of us to support government. Let's do online learning until the regulations are clear. And when I look at what in our discussions with government, I really am hoping that schools will not be as long, they'll not be, independent schools will be permitted to open quite soon. So let's look at the regulations, follow the law, and really this, unfortunately, all of us around the world have to actually do something to fight this horrible pandemic.
Obviously, there are conversations around the future of education. I suggested earlier on this program that this is only the beginning of changes to education. Do you see it like that? There's actually quite a lot of changes that are going to come as a result of this, but those changes are only just beginning. The online model we have now is not where this is going to end.
Stephen, we're not actually at the beginning. It has already begun. So I fully agree. There's no question that online learning, social platforms such as this are going to be used. In fact, we're also seeing a high number of people actually now electing to withdraw their children out of in-contact learning and simply putting the children into online learning for the duration of the pandemic. But I suspect that those people who have left for in-person teaching. Many of them are not going to come back. So online schooling is going to be something that is here to stay. And actually talking about that, it is really important that we get government to revise the South African Schools Act to actually catch up with the new reality as we move forward. Online schools are here to stay, and they need to be part of the regulatory system.
And I mean, there are calls for government to actually have its own online schooling system. In other words, people could be in a government school and also learning online. You have experience in this. Would you be able to offer some advice, some help to the National Department?
Certainly, but I think that what we do know is that, as you said earlier, when we look at online learning, we still do not know how effective it is. But certainly what I do know is that face-to-face interactions with pupils is far more effective than just simply putting the material on a portal and letting students see to finish. So that is one thing that has to be very much about a hybrid system. And anyway, it's not only independent schools that are online now because schools are closed. I think that many public schools, if there is a further shutdown, will also go online, especially those category 4 and 5 schools that charge fees.
Lebogang, really appreciate the time. Thank you. The head of the Independent Schools of Association of Independent Schools of Southern Africa. All right.